Hello there, my name's Card, and this video is an installment in a series I do here on my YouTube page called Some New Words. The premise of the series is that in each video I introduce to you a new, completely original word or term or figure of speech which I've coined. Then I use an explanation of that word's definition and its linguistic basis as something of a jumping off point for briefly exploring an idea or a concept. In this video, the new word I'd like to introduce to you is Daly, which I've got defined here as a noun as an incredibly dire predicament, one with severe and immediate consequences caused by human error and that cannot ever be mitigated or reversed, but specifically one so immediate, sudden, and having occurred as the result of so minor an action that as little as just 1 minute's foresight would have been sufficient to avoid it entirely. And additionally, as an adjective, such a situation is Dalek. You can see there the word spelling and its international phonetic alphabet notation, as well as what I've etymologically based the word Daly off of. It's ultimately derived from a regional indigenous Australian word which variably means to go as a verb or gone as an adjective. This is a concept, an idea, that most likely, and hopefully, you won't find yourself encountering all too often. The notion of an immediate, irreversible, catastrophic outcome that could have been avoided or negated entirely with only minimal forethought. But I find it interesting to think about and try to label all the same. Examples I could imagine would be severe or even fatal accidents, like workplace accidents which happen because someone ignored safety protocol and got themselves seriously hurt by ignoring one little precaution they were meant to do, or someone gambling and they get ahead of themselves and bet it all and lose big, that sort of thing. And it's an idea you see come up in literature a fair bit too, especially classical works and the stories they heavily influenced, like a lot of Shakespeare, for instance. It's got quite a bit of overlap with the concept of making rash decisions because of hubris or arrogance, and it's the sort of literary conceit you often get a lot in stories that invoke classical irony. I think by trying to codify a word for a situation like that, you give yourself a new lens by which to think about matters of choice and consequence. At the very least, it's a fun little activity trying to come up with words with which to label concepts for which there isn't any pre-existing real contemporary English term. Consciously thinking about how we label concepts and objects, and how our language determines in many ways what we see as distinct phenomena, is all pretty neat, I reckon. If you find all this interesting too, you can find more of my Some New Words videos in their own playlist, linked at the top of the description. Also linked there will be a dedicated page of my website where all these new words of mine are collated in one spot, if you'd prefer to read through them at your own pace. And of course, if you'd like to hear more from me in general, feel free to subscribe to this YouTube page, or just take a look at my other videos. All that said, once again, my name's Card. Goodbye for now, and have a lovely day.